news release today talks about our process to then take that concentrate that we previously produced and take it through a pilot plant to produce battery grade nickel sulfate. So nickel sulfate is the material that goes into making the chemicals for electric vehicle batteries.
Hey, welcome back inside our Proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Martin Turenne. He is the CEO of FPX Nickel. And Martin, welcome back. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Steve. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, coming out with a really interesting news release talking about doing some test work and, in essence, producing battery grade nickel sulfate. So we want to sort of talk. This is a small batch, so we're starting there. So maybe you kind of explain to us what led you up to this particular point and what this means.
Yeah, so it actually really starts with a fairly large scale pilot program that we ran earlier this year to take the ore from our Baptiste nickel deposit here in BC to then first produce a concentrate. So that went very well. We had a news release on that earlier this year. This news release today talks about our process to then take that concentrate that we previously produced and take it through a pilot plant to produce battery grade nickel sulfate. So nickel sulfate is the material that goes into making the chemicals for electric vehicle batteries. There are very stringent specifications on that material. And what our test work shows is that at scale, we can produce that material through a very conventional and simple flow sheet and meet those very tight specifications that EV makers and battery makers are looking for. So great outcome for us for sure.
Yeah, and the whole point of Baptiste and what your story is how it is produced. And can you sort of talk to me about the importance of just the production of it itself and why that's so key?
Yeah, so Baptiste contains nickel not in the form of a sulfide, which most Canadians will be familiar with, but rather in the form of awaruite. So this is a first of its kind type deposit. It's a different nickel mineral. And we've taken a long time over the last several years to explain this mineral to the market. But the key takeaway I think investors should come away with is that this mineral, this awaruite mineral that we target and have at Baptiste, is ideally suited to simple recoveries through a very conventional flow sheet to produce a high grade concentrate. That concentrate is very clean. It doesn't need to go through a smelter. It can go directly through a refinery. So both in terms of treating ore to produce concentrate and then treating concentrate to produce battery grade nickel sulfate, this is an ideal type of nickel ore to be working with, and it has huge advantages over other competing nickel deposit types. And the work that we've done to produce this nickel sulfate just further demonstrates that ability to produce that value-added product all here in Canada.
Yeah. In the news release, you talk about the potential size of Baptiste and what that can mean for the market in general. And you also talk about a scoping study that's being worked on right now. Combine those two and tell me sort of the next stages here.
Yeah, so what we're looking at next is developing a nickel refinery that, once the mine is in production, would treat material into producing nickel sulfate for that battery market. This would be the largest nickel sulfate refinery in North America. So the scale of the opportunity is massive, be enough to produce enough nickel to serve almost 450,000 vehicles per year. So production of 450,000 vehicles based on material produced from Baptiste alone. The scoping study that you referred to is really going to take all the test work that we've done and disclosed here today and wrap the economics around that. We've already done some internal work on that. We feel those economics are going to be very attractive to develop a nickel refinery to treat our material, and again, develop that made in Canada supply chain for the EV market.
Well, it's fascinating stuff for sure, Martin. Thank you so much. Congratulations on this milestone, and we look forward to our next conversation, okay?
Thanks, Steve.
All right, Martin Turenne, the CEO of FPX Nickel.